6 games in the USL Championship tonight. Take a look at Segra Field in Leesburg, Virginia. We kick off the evening with Loudoun United in playoff position, welcoming Indy 11. Joined by Casey White, former U.S. national teamer Mike Watts on hand. Our pregame show is presented by Segra. Take a look at the Eastern Conference standings, and Loudoun is currently in position to go on the road in the first round of the playoffs as they approach the quarter pole of the season. All the while, if you're Indy 11, it hasn't started all that well. You win this game, you're above the line and above 8th place.
And I think that's what they have to focus on. 3 points can go a long way at this point for Indy 11 as they take on Loudoun.
This Loudoun team is in pretty decent form. They're going to head into the Open Cup here midweek, but what they've done in the league has been pretty astounding as well.
And they have goal scorers all the way across the roster. 4 out of the last 5 goals have come from different players. So you've got Leggett scoring. You've also got Zach Ryan, who has a lot of goals for this group. So it really can come from anywhere, the offensive production.
Well, they fell to Phoenix on the road last time out. They'll try and get back on the right side of the ledger here before they take on the Columbus Crew here at Segra Field on the 10th midweek. Let's take a look at our player to watch in this game. It is presented by Betfred. How about Khalil El-Medkar creating in midfield?
And this is a player that can score, but more of what he does is play in between the lines, get into lots of different spaces, and just try to dictate play from his midfield position.
Ryan Martin says he has that wow factor in him. Will we see it today? Meanwhile, for Indy 11, the only wow thus far is the lack of results. But you talk to Mark Lowry, and you're filled with optimism that they're closer to a handful of wins than you think.
A team that has a lot of possession and really dominates in that way. And in the last game versus Pittsburgh, able to come back and get this tying goal from Blake right from the top of the box, this one coming out. And that's really important, that one coming in the 81st minute.
They've got 3 losses to this point. That's as many as second place Birmingham have. They just need to get a few wins on the board, and maybe no better than a former back-to-back MVP in Solomon Asante to get them going.
And look at those numbers. This is a player that is a prolific goal scorer. He's done it in the past. They're definitely going to look to him to create chances and try to get on the board for them.
All right, he's got 1 goal, 1 assist in 7 games this year. Would love a goal contribution or 2 here on the road to lead Indy to what would be a highlight reel level win for them early in the season against this Loudoun team. Surprising, perhaps, above the playoff line. We've got lineups and kickoff when we return. This is the pregame show presented by Segra.
Business today is fast, unpredictable, always changing. Shifting trends and technologies are pushing aside old rules. The unexpected is the new normal. Segra is here to help you get what's next with our best-in-class connectivity, cybersecurity, cloud, and collaboration solutions. Whatever your business dreams, we have the network and services to get you there. Segra, giving your business the freedom to grow today. Segra is a proud sponsor of the Loudoun United Football Club.
We welcome you back to Segra Field in Leesburg, Virginia, in the USL Championship on this Saturday night. It is Loudoun United taking on Indy 11. Joined by Casey White, Mike Watts, let's take a look at the starting lineups We begin with Loudoun United. 5 changes. That's the most they've made game to game all season long.
And I'm really excited to see Williamson back in the lineup, pairing up there with Zach Ryan. That is a front two that they really have to pay attention to, and now just coming off a brace as well in their Open Cup play.
Meanwhile, for Indy 11, Jack Blake returns. Douglas Martinez steps in up front. Robledo and Rebellon out. Rebellon not in the 18.
And that's a team that midfield is so important with Quinn, Blake, and Lindley. They really dictate play in possession, but goals can come from any of those front 6.
So Mark Lowry and Indy 11 looking for a critical win here on the road. Solomon Asante stands over the ball. And trumpets blare here in Leesburg as we close in on opening kickoff. It is a game of tremendous importance for both sides. And there's the opening whistle from Danielle Chesky. We are underway this evening in Leesburg. Indy 11 away to Loudoun United. Taken on by Farreau. What's really interesting about the lineup that's been assembled tonight by Ryan Martin, he told us all our focus is on Indy 11, yet the 5 changes. It's a group that doesn't have the most depth in the league, to say the least, at least numerically. They feel pretty good top to bottom, and they've got Columbus coming here on Wednesday, a team that knocked Indy 11 out of the Open Cup in the last round. A little trouble here playing out of the back. Farreau will siphon it off.
And that's something that's really interesting just from a managerial perspective. How do you balance that? How do you make both games equally important? And when do you make substitutions? All of that player management is really big as they go throughout the season and the Open Cup play.
Ball rolled forward by Budati. Implant from Hartford. Williamson providing pressure on Dees Pay. Upfield from Lindley. When Zadi will chase. Farreau. Driven out by Odell. Thrust forward by Quinn. And into Daniel Chica, his first start for Loudoun United, 20 in white tonight. Central from Santos. Lack of Learman in the center back role, a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, and it was nice seeing Chica in there, not only being able to get and stop the play, but also showing some composure playing out of the back early on in this one.
Odell more than comfortable to play with his feet. Dees Pay. Martinez. Asante. I like him at the top of a diamond. They've got a couple different ways they're looking to utilize him, but perhaps most importantly, not the way he was in Phoenix, where he was exclusively wide to the right. That's Martinez's role in this game. Martinez for Guenzati, picked off by Farreau. Today's keys to the game are brought to you by Country Buick GMC of Leesburg, and both are about finishing in the final third.
And for Loudoun United, the variety in the way they attack. Can they possess at times, play off the back line, but also maybe look for some of more of that direct play to get in behind the back line and really stretch the backs of Indy 11. And for Indy 11, what are they going to be able to do in the final third? They possess really well, but what kind of combinations and finishing details are going to set them apart and help them get the 3 points?
And this is an Indy team that feels like they're on the verge of finding those details, right? It's a completely renewed team from when Mark Lowry took over a year and a half ago.
It is, and a lot of goals can come from different places. It's just a matter of that gelling together, getting all those pieces right and all clicking at the same time. It starts with the possession piece, which they've had in their previous games. Then it's about creating chances, and then can you execute? And that's where they're starting to need to grow as it gets further into the season.
Blake splays down. Foul from Zane. Vasquez. Robbie Dambrot One of the best to ever wear a Loudoun United shirt. Santos stepped in to win it.
There you go, there you go. No foul, Tommy, no foul. Go!
Quinzotti through the legs of Chica. That's a welcome to the championship moment.
Trying to do something just a little bit cheeky there on the sideline. Didn't quite come off, but you can just see that possession out of Odell out of the back. Just a really big part of why they can possess, very comfortable with his feet and really able to draw pressure in. And you would assume if that continues to happen, there'll be some space in the middle third that Indy 11 can take advantage of.
This will find its way through. Rolled over to Santos by Williamson. Santos delivers! What a finish! El Medcar! Loudoun stampeding to a 6th minute lead. That was jaw-dropping.
And you could see all the numbers getting into the penalty box from Loudoun. Just a lot of build-up play there. And what a finish from El Medcar coming out of his attacking midfield position to be able to go into the penalty area, not only to make that run, but the way in which he finished. But look at this penetrating ball. 2 touches. El Medcar actually started that entire play with the little flick on. Santos out here takes a little look. Look at this finish, though, just coming right in front of the defender and able to put it in the corner.
That's why he was the player to watch.
Exactly. A player that is not only someone who created in midfield, got everyone going forward, but look at that run.
Oh. Well, we could take all the credit, but I suppose it's producer Justin Cohen who really had that twinkle in his eye when we walked in today. He had a feeling lodged deep in his gut. El Medcar's 2nd of the season. And the former Kentucky player who went on to Dallas, had really good results in League One. Recruited into this Loudoun team and scores one of the early goals of the season for this high-flying Loudoun team. It's amazing, Casey, because you talk to Ryan Martin. This is a team that won 5 games from 2020 to 2021. They won 8 last year, which was a step forward, but they were still primarily a DC United reserve team in theory. They get new ownership, principal ownership over the offseason. Ryan Martin able to really grab the reins of this thing. And after a handful of games where they had to feel each other out, learn how they wanted to go about their business, I mean, this is a really enticing Loudoun team that's looking the part of a team that should play a role in the postseason at the end.
And when speaking to him, he talks about how quickly they're coming together and how it's a little bit surprising of just how fast it is starting to gel. And you can really see it in the way they play. They get results on a consistent basis, and the more they're together, you can see those things kind of clicking. That goal was such an example of that, just the way it built up through midfield and Santos getting up in that wide space going early. It was just a really great build-up goal.
Williamson tries to get a piece brought down by Ryan. El Medcar has the late run back post for Zane. Now the other side, Budati. Well, Loudoun conceded first in all 3 of their losses this year. They scored first in their 3 wins and their lone draw. All the while, Indy conceded inside 20 minutes last week against Pittsburgh. Through by Asante, that's brilliant. Throw off his line with a denial on Blake.
And that's a really good opportunity. There's a huge gap there that Blake was able to find, but he lifts it on that finishing touch instead of putting it low. That's a little bit easier of a save for Farrell.
Lindley, ball came off of Garay, gets his 2nd start of the season. They wanted to be able to dictate the game a little bit more in midfield Hasn't really felt like that's been the case yet, but Garay does give you that gear.
Open up, open up. He was at the end of the bench with the blue hat and the red shirt. That just said,
Inside Dambrot.
Step in there, come on.
that
Sprayed in behind. Farrow collects.
And you mentioned about the scoring first part of Loudoun United, and when they have done that, they've been successful. That's also impressive for a team that has a lot of different pieces, because when you go up a goal, you really have to make sure that the lines are tight, you condense the spaces defensively. That's not easy to do, to see out wins when you're, the majority of the roster is a new group.
Up to Ryan. Room to roam here. Zane flying. Budati closed it down. Support behind him. Cross swung in over Williamson and down to Dambrot. By the way, Loudoun now 3 goals in the first 15 minutes of games this season. That's tied for 3rd in the league. Only Miami and Colorado Springs more often. Asante. Martinez just slipped by. Farrow. If only there were a booth cam to really understand the shock and awe on your face, Casey.
Yeah,
as Farrow carried
I saw that one coming. I was a little bit worried, but he figured it out. Was able to get out of danger.
Rocha. Slipped ahead, there's Blake.
It's an interesting start because Indy 11 really is known for having the majority of possession, but Loudoun has started pretty quick and just looks really comfortable on the ball at times. There's been a little bit of change back and forth, but even before the goal came, really is trying to possess.
Samake kept it from Martinez. Farrow has a little more time to contemplate this time. Second ball hoovered up here by Loudoun. Bounced away from Lindley. Well, goalkeepers are basically handling the ball like field players these days.
And you do want composure, but this is very dangerous right here. That's a lot of pressure coming at you. There was foresight at least to take that touch outside of the goal mouth, which was something he did. So if there is a tackle, at least it's going out of bounds.
Ryan chips back to Zane. Ryan crossfield sends Koa Santos out of the field of play. And a throw here for Mark Lowry's side. Outstanding success, really from the jump at El Paso. There's Dambrot, who featured in 33 games in a Loudoun shirt, 2019 and 2021. Remember asking Ryan Martin about Dambrot's dad's gig, a Division I head basketball coach at Duquesne. I actually saw him earlier this year in the Bronx when Duquesne played Fordham. Said, I've called a lot of your son's games over the years. And he goes, well, he's coming off an injury, but excited to be in Indy. Ryan Martin was actually trying to get to a couple of practices. The Dambrot staff. That's Dambrot cutting it through. And back toward the Ryan Martin-led Loudoun bench.
And for the first time, we've really seen the outside backs of Indy 11 get forward. That's really been Loudoun most of this game, with Santos getting forward mostly from his right back position. But that's going to be a battle throughout the game. Which team can really impose that and try to create 2-against-1s in those wide areas?
Is there an element of you have to possess the ball if you're Indy to get those fullbacks forward, whereas if you're Loudoun, being able to get them forward out of possession is almost more valuable?
Yeah, I think so. I think for Indy 11, the more they pass, the more they collect passes, it allows players to get forward more often, where Loudoun tends to press a little bit higher, and so their outside backs are higher up the field, and they use that defensive shape to get them involved.
Ball stripped off of Asante. Chica. Santos. Chica. Santos. Quinn. Pay walks it back to Odell.
Just a little bit impatient there in the build-up. It plays to the advantage of Indy 11 for them to just kind of defend in that mid-block right around the top of the center circle, because they don't want to concede space behind the back line. There's some pace up top for Loudoun. So really, if Loudoun can show a little bit more patience, they may be able to penetrate, you know, through the midfield line.
A little physicality here produced by Zane. Taken away, as brief as it may be, by Williamson. Back up to Quinn. Tidily circles around. Quarter hour in, Indy 11 actually have more expected goals than Loudoun do. Loudoun, the one great chance for Khalil El-Medkar in the 6th minute of play. Lindley, offside for Martinez.
And you can see all that space in behind the line. Loudoun United definitely trying to press a little bit higher up. But it's interesting what you say about the expected goals, because although Loudoun was clinical, right away after that goal, Blake had that opportunity on the other end as well that could have equalized. They've really figured out how to get in there. That was only the one that was really a clear chance, though.
That's Garay between the center backs. Samake. And they're going to bring play back here to a Loudoun injury.
You don't call it. Your player dives and you call it. Typical.
Washington down.
Solo! Solo! Solo!
You know, Loudoun has kind of figured out this whole finding center backs thing. Just call Jay Vidovich and go check in with Pitt. Washington coming off the same tree as Giannis Learman did. So they'll continue to take a look here at Washington. He gets back up and he'll make his way off. We'd be remiss not to mention that U.S. Soccer this week lost an absolute legend of the refereeing profession. There's the crew led by Danielle Chesky pregame. May is Huntington's Disease Awareness Month, and referees across the country every May have been wearing these blue wristbands to honor the refereeing legacy of Terry Vaughn. Terry Vaughn passed away this week after an extended and heroic battle with Huntington's disease, bringing awareness nationwide. It's a loss that's almost impossible to quantify. What he did over the past few years helping officials into the professional ranks is just a small sliver of what he's brought since he began that fight. Our thoughts with the Vaughn family and with all those in pro who are affected. I know a handful of referees personally who have been mourning here over the last few days and spoke about the inherent emotion of wearing the blue wristband to begin with the HD on it, but especially so here this weekend. Chipped in behind here for Loudoun to chase. Of course, referees like the U.S. Postal Service, rain, sleet, or snow, they're always here and never get nearly enough credit. Quinn dropped that on a platter. Martinez back to Blake. This is really good. Contact edge of the penalty area. It is outside the penalty area. I believe Daniel Chesky had that exactly right. There is no VAR, notably. We're going to get the best look at Samake's tackle in on Blake.
That was close, but I love that change of point ball. You said it. Quinn just puts it on an absolute dime, and then this drops ball to Blake, taking on. We'll take a look right here, and it does look right outside the penalty area. The momentum took him into it, but the actual contact does look like it was the right call.
Watch Samake step, that big elongated step. He knew exactly where he was going, right?
From that angle, it looked like Blake was going to be able to get into the 18, but you're right. His right leg just went that half yard up when he went for the tackle and was outside the 18.
Well, Samake growing up before our eyes here at Loudoun United over the years. They first scouted him in December of 2019. It just turned 20 years old. There's Washington returning. And it's an unenviable place to get back onto the field here with the set piece to come. Indy has an extraordinary group of set piece specialists. It's Blake and Quinn over the ball here. It's Quinn. Oh, it's Quinn wide. That did deflect en route. It will be a corner.
And this is great, just one step. I thought this one was going in. It looked like it, and Farreau pulled away right at the last minute, perhaps thinking, okay, it was going to go out for a goal kick, but did take a deflection.
Quinn. That header glances high. A spare thought for D's Bay. He thought someone else must have touched that.
So look back at the same service from Quinn, 2 in a row. This was really dangerous. It looked like it went off the shoulder of Washington.
Yeah. Chica. That's the right step from Jesus Vasquez. Dambrot. Long ball, Guinzotti brought it down, got a second touch, and puts it up to Farreau.
And that was just a half yard off of being able to have him take that on his right foot, not needing that second touch. But it's interesting what we're seeing from Indy 11, a little bit of possession, but at times being more direct, looking for that switch of point ball, which they took advantage when Washington was out, and then that last one.
Ryan forward for Zane, seeking Williamson! Off his line, Odell's down! Appeal for a handball by Dambrot. As El Medcar was denied. Daniel Chesky pointing to Odell and stopping play.
Well, this is going to be interesting. There was a lot going on there.
When was the whistle almost important as where?
You're 100% right on that one. There was so much going on. Was it a foul or was it to check on just the injury? I don't really know. This is how they got in, just on that far side and looking for the early ball right there. Just gets a little deflection, which might have thrown Williamson off, and it looked like some contact to the knee. Well, he grabbed his ankle. It looked like some contact to the knee there, at least initially.
And then let's see if 22's Chicken Wing catches the ball on El Medcar's second effort as well.
Oh, it certainly looks like it hits the stomach and pops up and hits the chicken wing right there.
So there's frankly a lot to figure out here. Of course, the officials in the championship don't get the benefit of being able to look at this again. This is where you get together, referee with the AR, and have these conversations. Aiden Rocha is talking to one of the ARs right now. He Ryan Martin is chatting with the fourth official. Mark Lowry's just waiting with raised brow.
Well, and I think no matter what happens, I'm really surprised the entire play wasn't let to play on. It looked like it was stopped there. So that was really interesting that that happened.
Odell pellets all over his face, still having that ankle attended to. Let's take a better look. I don't know if that hits his stomach as much as it catches that arm right there. And without that arm, is that going over the line? And then you get into the question of denial of an obvious goal-scoring opportunity, as inconvenient as it would be for Dambrot. IFAB has done so much to try and give some leeway to the accidental handball off a deflection. At the end of the day, we can parse this out, but the officials saw what they saw in real time, and that's it.
Right, and there was that really heavy collision, and it looked like perhaps it's irrelevant because of the collision and the way that Daniel Chesky viewed that in that moment.
Tim Trilk is the reserve goalkeeper, the 24-year-old from Rockford, Illinois, who became a pretty consistent starter at the back end of last season. Odell coming in after time in New England and time in Hartford last year on loan. Williamson saying, shouldn't that be something? All the while, they will indicate, apparently that has to be a Williamson foul.
Yeah, that certainly looks like it, and really there could have been a more clear opportunity, but the retreating defender, it deflected that ball that initially went into Williamson, and Odell did really well there.
I know that. I'm not going to do my job because I know that.
Chica stepping in. There's that big switch of play again. This is offside. Second time Martinez has run amok with the offside flag.
Hey, starting last season, that's an automatic yellow.
I like the fact that Indy 11 is actually trying to get into that space behind. What that does is, one, you may get in. If the timing gets a little bit better, you're going to have some opportunities just to be running at the Loudoun goal. But also, the Loudoun defense has to respect that a little bit. They may drop off. That creates that space in front. When you've got Asante right there, and if he can get in that space, that's a really good way to just try to create gaps.
Well, it's funny, the idea of variety in the final third was sort of the Loudoun key, and yet we've seen 2, 3, 4 different ways for Indy 11 to get into the final third and create those gaps.
Well, and that's something that's really interesting because usually they're a team that's more in possession, especially in that middle third. But obviously with the scouting of Loudoun and how they feel they can take advantage, having Martinez off that right side, it's been effective. It hasn't really come into a goal-scoring opportunity except maybe that set piece outside the box recently, but it's definitely a space that makes Loudoun uncomfortable.
Steered aside by Garay. Coa Santos. Vasquez handled that. Dambrot off of El Medcar. Loudoun United leading here after a 6th-minute goal from El Medcar. They play arguably, perhaps inarguably, the biggest game in franchise history on Wednesday night against Columbus Crew on this field in the Open Cup round of 32. Dambrot, Chica, Asante got a touch, it's Blake, Martinez, a souvenir for the Sweets.
And again, their attacking is really being initiated by that change of point ball. And they are able to find the wingers. That time it was Dambrot just getting into that space. It really opens up play for them. And this one falls to the very central area where Asante is. Blake looked like he might take a chance. You've got to get this on frame right here. Look at all the bodies that are in front of that goal. If that's on frame and you force a save, there could be a good second chance opportunity.
Casey, if those big diagonals are working, how do you try and rectify that if you're Ryan Martin and Loudoun?
Well, I think one of the biggest pieces is how you get pressure on the ball and to what direction. So the immediate pressure to the ball, not allowing the space to change the point, really important. But ultimately, the wide space doesn't have to hurt you.
Ooh. Down goes Vasquez. That's a free kick for Williamson. Williamson was saying, shouldn't there be a card for that? There is. It's Vasquez who got megged. And that is insult to injury.
This was quite creative here on the sideline from Williamson, just giving chase against Vasquez. And then look at this. Why not take a chance? There's no cover for Vasquez there. And that's really all he can do is take him down, and now they have the set piece.
Garay and Santos behind the ball. Loudoun used to be victimized on set pieces. So often the younger, less experienced team. Step over from Garay. Santos curling. Ball brought down. Ryan got a shot away. Ryan was throwing some elbows in there. He almost jumped falsely. Got everyone up around him.
That's one of those moments where he was just challenging. Hopefully I can just jump and it throws someone off and it bounces down, and it did, to be quite honest with you.
That ball's in play. Dambrot takes a deflection. Well, now they've got 5 players behind the ball. If they're able to hit that into Blake, instead it ends up harmlessly at the feet of Washington. Santos, Williamson has been a spark plug, returning to the starting role, one that Wesley Leggett is so ably taken over of late.
And I think that's a good problem to have, right? 3 players that can play in those front 2 positions that are all capable of scoring goals. And it's a long season, so how do you continue to keep all of those players in form?
Whoa, this ball hit back. Whoa, that was... thankfully, Ferreau was fully aware.
That was a little uncomfortable there for a second.
Maybe that's an optical illusion. It was never as close as it appeared in the mirror, but...
Hey, there was a slight bend. It was starting to bend back. I'll give you that.
Woo. Anywho, 3 informed forwards is a good problem to have.
It is, and also a goalkeeper that's aware and figures things out on the other end.
Offside again. Martinez has had his issues with the offside flag historically. This is not really new.
You can't fault the eagerness, but really there's no excuse as a winger to be offside that many times. You can see the entire line across the field, right? And you just don't need to be offside. So I like that he's trying to get in behind, but that has to be solved because there's a lot of opportunities going away.
Bounces to Odell.
And that's better in the build-up from Indy 11. Almedkar always goes out on that wing to press, and then Asante, you just saw dropping down.
Into Guenzati. That's too far for Quinn. Quinn. He goes down. Danielle Chesky wags her head no. Blake got away from Rocha. Slipped ahead. When Zadi watches this, Karen back to Vasquez. Martinez.
And at first, Indy 11 showing a lot of patience there, but eventually just kind of rushing, getting it in behind the back line. When the speed of play isn't super quick from Indy 11, Loudoun is able to get really 7 to 8 players behind the ball. So if they can figure out Indy 11 how to go quickly, that's something that they might be able to take advantage of. And you have Martinez on that wide area where sometimes Asante plays, but now he's pushed inside. Can they take advantage of having him in the middle?
Farrow. Rocha, right place, right time. Garay. Ball through Ryan. Flag is down. Ryan angling in. Zach Ryan turned away by Vasquez. Corner, Loudoun United.
And taking a few looks over his shoulders to make sure he wasn't offside on that one. There was a lot of space, but Vasquez does extremely well. And all of that starts for Loudoun from Garay. Garay coming into that midfield has really been a good presence and a steadying presence in possession and allowing them to spring their forwards in behind the back line.
Garay already capping with El Salvador and El Medcar. Didn't like the look. Samake. El Medcar. El Medcar continuing. Tried to swing that cross. Washington under it. Zane chasing. Odell crashing and winning the free kick. And Odell's livid. He's been hit a couple of times here. A yellow card to Zane, whose high boot endangers the onrushing Odell.
And it was good organization from Loudoun just on this resurface off the set piece. But take a look at Washington. Goes there for the challenge. Zane tries to get his foot in and is just late, but it's the body that takes him out after the fact. But he didn't get a touch on that ball, which was probably better for Odell because that was a very high boot.
Zane's second yellow card in 195 minutes now this year. 20-year-old Ivorian winger. Martinez into Lindley. Let's return a little closer to home. His second stint with Indy 11. I was laughing with Mark Lowry. I said, well, no one on the team was here before you got here, except for Cam Lindley, who you had to go back out and reacquire.
Which he was very happy to do.
Yes, he was. Lindley, not really the slow down type. He is everywhere all at once, including right there, although he's given it away. Forward to Ryan. Ryan slaloming through that backtracking midfield.
And although Loudoun chose to recycle the ball there, when Garay drops it and gets it in that central area, it allows the outside backs to get a little bit higher, and that is better for Loudoun because it just creates more numbers forward, and they can really look to play the box. And with Samake getting up and Santos, it really helps their attack.
Williamson. Rocha finding Santos. Really patient from Loudoun, to your point. There's Garay. Zane appeals for offside unheard. Zane put that down when Zadi kept by Chica. Elmedkar, that's Dambrot, arms behind his back. Rocha. Santos. Inside Elmedkar. Cutback ball turned away by Vasquez. That's a Loudoun corner.
That's really good defending from Vasquez, because that is a very good attack from Elmedkar and Santos. Just seeing that little bitty seam, drawing two defenders, being able to play that. It's just such a good ball from there.
Loudoun out-possessing Indy 11. Who saw that coming? Santos. That ball awkwardly dealt with, and that's much more convincing. And finally, a little room to breathe here. 40 minutes in. Loudoun's led from the 6th minute on. Seeking Williamson down to Ryan. Williamson was offside.
And you mentioned the possession piece, and I think Loudoun has been really patient. When do I go forward? When do I recycle? All those different decisions have been great, but also their ability to counter press when they've lost possession has gotten it back for them more quickly as the half's gone on. You saw Chica a few moments ago stepping about 25 yards out from goal. That aids the possession on the attacking side when you can win it back right away and that quickly.
Dambrot, Asante. This can be a heavy field, especially when you're forced to run. Indy's been in that mode now for a few minutes.
Yeah, there was a time period there where they were really starting to get a little bit more possession about halfway through the first half and trying to spring those wide areas, but Loudoun's adjusted quite well.
That's a foul from Budati. Santos took the return in behind Elmedkar. Looking for Ryan. Ryan tried to cycle that back through, either for goal somehow or for Williamson, who was lapping over top of him.
And just the pattern and build-up in this wide space is so good with the 10 Elmedkar going in behind and looking for the early ball. Ryan does great here just to get in front. Makes the most of that touch that he had. I don't know if it was on purpose or not, but he had good position there and earns the corner kick.
Well, if you're Loudoun, you're pleased with this first half, but if it finishes at just 1-0, you'll feel you left some money on the table, especially how good Indy can be at wearing you down. Garay floats, header Williamson, Odell. For once, Odell's unimpeded. Odell's had a rough go of it.
There's definitely been a lot of aggression in their pressing from the front and just really trying to put the back line and Odell under pressure.
Farrow. It's good from Garay. That's going to be with Indy. These pay won a free kick. Header down, Asante takes it on, leads Martinez, and that deflects. away from Guenzati and into the waiting grasp of Farreau.
And that was good recovery defending there from Washington. And you could see the reason they got that was just that restart service going really, really quick once the foul went against Williamson. And that way Loudoun just wasn't able to defend and be set.
Zane, a newcomer on this near touchline. There's a whistle. Dambrot will be booked.
Take a look at that last one here with Zane just getting his head down, going in the 1v1. Just a quick touch, definitely a foul there from Dambrot.
Number 22, Robbie Dambrot.
Santos essentially unleashing the hounds from Indy. Try and press that back line. Stoppage time brought to you by Novak, delivering power you can count on. 4 added minutes. Martinez hit Washington.
Delivering power you can count on.
Martinez, support from behind, diving header away. Lindley.
I've been really impressed by Loudoun. They have this just tenacity to want to go forward, but they're showing some real maturity when they start the ball over and things like that. They have the 1-0 lead. Yes, I agree with what you said earlier. Maybe 2 or 3 goals could have come in this first half, and that could be something that kind of they left on the table. But I like the fact that they're kind of picking and choosing in how they attack.
There's something to be said for when you do have Indy somewhat on the ropes, because it's such an unfamiliar feeling. In Mark Lowry's tenure, and even in past more possession-based teams, it was the same way Martin Rennie led them a few years ago. That kick, Rocha pushing at Blake. The yellow's going to go to Rocha for impeding the free kick.
You can just take a look right here. The ball's played in. Stepping hard was Washington. Coming from the backside too was Garay, I believe. Yeah, it was Garay there, just stepping right in front. And Blake was smart. He knew you can't step right in front there, and he tries to play quickly.
Well, no, it is the foul on Garay, not the eventual impediment after. So Garay's been booked.
And to be fair, the reaction from Rocha could have been booked as well.
Get the feeling that Ryan Martin felt that was shocking. Ball forward, punched away Farreau. You could hear him say, that's going to cost us a goal. It nearly did. Lindley, Quinn, Lindley, Blake onto Asante. And Farreau, he's checking with everyone in the stands. You didn't really sign up for that when you bought the ticket in theory, but corner Indy 11. Let's turn that scoreboard on, huh? Segra Field renovation. Aiden Quinn, the corner for Indy 11. Curling inward and caught by Farreau into the final 40 seconds of the first half.
And Indy 11's doing well to find that wide space again. They kind of went back to where they weren't finding it. Now they are. And Asante has played off that right side in the past, and he's the one who earned that last corner kick. I wonder if that's something they may change to get just more execution out of that on the right side. But he does really well going through the middle.
Back set header down to Odell. We'll see how quickly Indy 11 would like a go at this. That's very high from Loudoun with just 10 seconds left in the half. May well keep Indy from getting forward at all. Guenzati, that's a tug. It's a little extra toss from Lindley. May well have waved him right into the locker room. It's only a matter of seconds now. One glance at the watch. No need for another kick. We're done here in the first half. Will Loudoun get the goal in the 6th minute of play? Both sides have really good passages with them without the ball, but it's Loudoun that are able to set themselves apart before halftime.
And they've been really cerebral in the way they've attacked, but this right side especially, a lot of good patterns of play to get in behind the back line of Indy 11. And I'd like to see Quinn get on the ball a little bit more for Indy 11. I think the more he is on the ball, they look better when they're going forward.
All right, coming up at halftime, we'll tell you about our player spotlight. Could come off the bench in the second half. Upcoming schedules for both these sides. Look at the scores around the league and our first half highlights. Loudoun United have the lead at home, trying to inch higher and higher up the table. Tonight's broadcast presented by Segra.
Business today is fast, unpredictable, always changing. Shifting trends and technologies are pushing aside old rules. The unexpected is the new normal. Segra is here to help you get what's next with our best-in-class connectivity, cybersecurity, cloud, and collaboration solutions. Whatever your business dreams, we have the network and services to get you there. Segra, giving your business the freedom to grow today. Segra is a proud sponsor of the Loudoun United Football Club.
There are certain things we've come to expect in Northern Virginia. Traffic jams, tourists, cherry blossoms, and reliable power from Novec. With a 99.99% rating, Novec's reliability is among the best in the region. To keep that high service level, Novec regularly upgrades its electric system equipment with new poles, wire, and cutting-edge technology. Novec, delivering power you can count on.
Welcome back to Segra Field in Loudoun County. Loudoun United a 1-0 lead over Indy 11. We may see Panos Armanakis in the second half. He is our player spotlight. The Australian international joined Loudoun ahead of the 2023 season. Armanakis has played in Sydney Olympic, Watford, Udinese. He represented Greece internationally, then switched to Australia. He's trained with the Milan Soccer School in Sydney before training with AC Milan in early 2010. Late 2010, signed with Watford's Youth Academy, 2 years there, onto a 3-year deal with the Italian Serie A side Udinese. The Italian club ultimately led Panos to being the youngest Australian to sign a pro contract in any top 5 European League. And now here he is at Loudoun United. He's primarily been a starter this year. First time he's available off the bench all season long. Let's take a look at Loudoun's upcoming schedule. They do play in the Open Cup on Wednesday against Columbus, so this is the upcoming league schedule. They'll go to El Paso after that. Let's be very brutally honest about this. Every player on this squad is looking purely at Wednesday night, whether they admit it or not.
One step at a time, you're right. They are looking towards that game. A lot of good games coming up, though. You mentioned El Paso, New Mexico United. Right after that, then they'll go on the road to Hartford. So
Loudoun United trying to pick up points here, put themselves in an enviable spot should their Open Cup journey continue. Meanwhile, for Indy 11, this is a side with 3 losses on the year. That's as many as Birmingham has. They're in second, but they need to start getting some wins together. That is murderer's row for the next 4 games. All teams that are within the top 4 in their respective conference.
It's not going to get any easier for Indy 11. As you said, all of these games are going to be so hard, and they need to start getting points, and 3 especially, so they can move up the leaderboard.
So that's what's coming up for Indy 11 and a couple of homecomings against Hartford. Ceremonies ongoing here on the field as we prepare for the second half of play. Loudoun 1, Indy nothing at the half. More coming up after this. Halftime is presented by Segra.
We all have goals. But let's be honest, most of us aren't going to be professional athletes. But if your goal is to finish your degree, we can help. Come to a university that puts your goals first. Bellevue University, your partner in finishing goals.
Welcome back to the USL Championship on ESPN Plus. Loudoun 1, Indy nothing at halftime in the opening of a 6-game slate around the USL Championship tonight. Some young players from the Loudoun community making their way onto the field as we take a look at news and notes from the championship and beyond in the USL ecosystem. Richard Chaplow out in Orange County. You and I both get the opportunity to see the new look Orange County tonight with Morten Carlson at the helm. All they have to do is try and knock off San Diego.
Yeah, not a challenge at all, right?
Nope.
I mean, I think that's hard, but sometimes when you get a new coach in there, there's just this little bit of rejuvenation and a new belief going on, so it'll be interesting to see how they come out.
Richard Chaplow's first game as interim as he led them to the title in 2021, went on the road, defeated San Diego Loyal in his first game, and both teams are well aware of that. Enzo Martinez getting paid. 2 goals, 1 assist, player of the week. And how about Lou City and Miami FC? It's our first of the USL Championship on ESPN2 this year. It's next Saturday night, 7 Eastern time on the Deuce. Meanwhile, some scores around the league. Indy and Pittsburgh, 2-2, as we all expected. Lots of goals there. Colorado Springs, not quite the result as scripted. Memphis up at halftime over Hartford. How about Tampa Bay getting the opener against Phoenix? There's a little juice in that.
That's big for the Rowdies. This is going to be a really exciting game, but getting that early lead important for them. And then Detroit City as well, needing some points to start to go up the standings. They're up 1-0 over Tulsa.
All right, so that's a look at the scoreboard. How about we take a look at the schedule here? And as mentioned, next Saturday, Louisville, Miami FC. You'll see it on ESPN2. Pittsburgh, Birmingham. It's that playoff rematch yet again. Any of these pique your interest?
Well, I'll be interested in that Rowdies-Detroit City game just based on what's going on tonight. If they both can get wins and start to go more in a positive direction, that will be a big matchup to see who can continue that momentum and potentially get 6 points in 2 games.
All right, so that's a look at what's coming up next weekend here on ESPN Plus and ESPN2 around the USL Championship. Who knows, maybe we get another 5-goal outburst like we had in the El Paso, Colorado Springs game last night. Maybe we just find the one that Indy needs to get a point here on the road. Maybe Loudoun can open it up. We've got plenty more to come, including first half highlights and stats on the other side of the break here in Loudoun County and Leesburg. Loudoun 1, Indy 0.
Business today is fast, unpredictable, always changing. Shifting trends and technologies are pushing aside old rules. The unexpected is the new normal. Segra is here to help you get what's next with our best-in-class connectivity, cybersecurity, cloud, and collaboration solutions. Whatever your business dreams, we have the network and services to get you there. Segra, giving your business the freedom to grow today. Segra is a proud sponsor of the Loudoun United Football Club.
Teams making their way back onto the field. We close in on the second half here in Leesburg. Loudoun United 1, Indy 11-0 at halftime. Let's get you caught up on the first half highlights you may have missed. Mike and Casey, here we go. Loudoun United on the front foot here from the opening whistle. Chance to move a little higher up in the standings as they entered the night in 6th. We start in the 6th minute, of course. Loudoun United grabbing the opening goal.
And El Medcar flicks that one on, continues his run. This ball out to Santos. The service is great, but the movement El Medcar makes just to get in front of the backside defender, so good. Not to mention the technical execution to finish that ball. But this is really good. Breaking lines in midfield, playing on here to Williamson, and just being able to have the service to put it into a dangerous area to allow for this to happen.
Santos finding El Medcar for El Medcar's second of the season. Indy 11 had some really good passages of play, maybe none better than this. Asante for Blake.
And really, it woke them up, that goal coming in the 6th minute. Asante finds this little slip ball to Blake. He just raises it there, makes it an easier save for Farrow. But they had some passages of play where they started to get opportunities. This foul right outside the box, just narrowly missing that near side off the foot of Quinn.
Aiden Quinn, as good a set-piece specialist as the league has. That did deflect. It would lead to a corner. Go ahead to the 24th minute, and it was a few of these quick passages through midfield. Ryan dropping in, Zane for Williamson. There's a lot to unpack here.
Yeah, this was such an interesting situation. Odell right there gets taken out. It ends up being called a foul, but trying to find the space in front, behind the back line, this one flicks on. There's a huge collision right here. Almedkar trying to go for goal. Looks like it might have hit the hand, but irrelevant as the foul was called.
All right, here's a look at the halftime stats. They're brought to you by Betfred. 11 shots in that first half, and Loudoun, look, stats can be deceiving. More possession than Indy.
100%. 51% I'm a little bit surprised by, because they were really comfortable in keeping the ball, but the way they kept the ball as well just allowed them to get more shots.
Well, if current score lines around the league hold, Loudoun would move up to 4th place. Indy has made a change at halftime. Jesus Vasquez on a yellow card coming off. Mishak Jerome will come on and, we hope, get the most extended playing time of the season thus far. The center back has only played 22 minutes in 2 games this year. The 33-year-old Haitian steps in, and the second half is underway. Saw the scores around the league that are ongoing. Tampa Bay ahead of Phoenix. Tampa would move to 5th, right behind Loudoun, Louisville, Birmingham, and Charleston above them in the Eastern Conference. And if this scoreline holds, Indy would be in 11th place through 8 games, with games in hand on the 2 teams above them.
And that's what's so interesting at this point in the season. You talk about how many places you can jump in the standings with 3 points. Yep. Making moves right now at this point in the season is really important, not only for just getting points and going up the leaderboard, but also just the way in which you can build confidence with your roster.
Indy, with a win tonight, would move into a tie for 8th place. Big difference between the penultimate base of the table. And Jerome for Vasquez, a sub brought to you by Segra. And sitting in a tie with goal difference for the final playoff spot. All the while, only 8th game here for Indy. And for Loudoun, for that matter. There are teams that already have 10 on the books. Get to 25 games, and all of a sudden a 2-game difference doesn't seem quite as gaudy. 6 potential points. Forward to Quinn by Guinzotti. Quinn! Second time he's hit the backside outside of the net.
I like that run, though, from Quinn. Guinzotti doing better in hold-up play, and if you need him to come back, you've got to have someone from the midfield that's going to push behind the back line. You can see it right here. Guinzotti does really well just to flick this on. This one has to go across frame, but it's a good strike, and at least there's players getting beyond now.
Positive progression from Indy. Farrow living the proper amount of dangerous. He's given 2 looks over his shoulder as if to ask what that was. Sane into Ryan. He's done a really good job in hold-up tonight. Crossfield from Garay. Santos inside to Rocha.
You mentioned the play of Ryan back to goal, and I think the way he's playing in that gap between the midfield and the back line of Indy 11 is really helping, and Garay as well. Those are 2 players right down the spine that have done really, really well in possession and allowed the outside backs and other midfielders just to get higher and get above the ball.
Just got by Blake. Circumvents all the way out to Zane. Samake overlapping. Samake sits atop the 6. Damrock got the initial touch. Recovered by Loudoun, but a foul, the reason why.
And I'm surprised by that foul from Zane, but that's that counter pressing. That's really good. You see all that attacking coming from Loudoun, but Indy 11 just under pressure immediately when they're trying to play.
That's a quick restart. Martinez. That's a good seeking ball. Back to Asante. Stepped in. Well, there's nothing in that according to the referee. Chica stood him up. And apparently there was more in that than met the eye because Asante is still down. They'll work the magic spray on Asante, and surely we'll try and get a better look at what exactly happened here to the lower extremity. Oh, for sure.
Wow. Yeah, definitely got stepped on by Chica right there on the right ankle.
Well, clearly there's contact inside the penalty area.
And it was so quick. It almost looked like he fooled everyone because I didn't even think that there was a foul in there. I thought being opportunistic maybe in the 18-yard box trying to create something was Asante, but definitely should have been a foul.
And therefore a penalty.
You're right.
So Asante is worse for the wear, and Indy get no benefit from that moment. Anywhere else on the field, we're talking about that as a foul. Asante is back up. In from Lindley. Off the mark for Blake. Lindley steps in. Rocha able to hold it up just long enough. The run out is on here for Loudoun. That's excellent from Jerome.
And some of that play from Indy is really good, just trying to provide combination play in the central areas. That's something that Coach Lowry talked about, just the movement centrally and how they can penetrate near the box in the final third. A little bit off right now, but they're trying to find that space a bit more often in the second half.
Rocha, there's the holdup, bypassing Williamson into the width. Garay steps back. Samake seeking Zane, down to Blake. Jack Blake captaining Real Monarchs to the title in 2019. Martinez chased it all the way to Farrow. Zach Ryan. You know, the more I watch Ryan, I'm not sure how familiar you were with Kyle Vassell last year at San Diego, but he was sort of a Tasmanian devil with that hold up and then spin off with all that strength.
Right.
But he's got this ability to just sort of shed that first player that he's backing down.
And players like Ryan that do that make it look simpler than it is. That is not easy to do. Yeah. You've got pressure. So not only do you have to keep possession of the ball in that hold-up play, but he figures out ways to face forward or to play the ball forward and then move off of it. And that's really impressive from his play.
Rocha nods down El Medcar. In behind Williamson. Williamson! Ripped in by Odell. It nearly slipped behind him.
And that was a great run from Williamson in behind, so close. And that's a good save. That looked like a very clear opportunity there from Williamson. A little bit of a hard angle, but really nice from the front runner.
Williamson, 1 goal in the league. He had 2 in the Open Cup. So much pride beaming out of Ryan Martin talking about that game against Flower City. Ball headed down, Guinzotti chasing, the offside flag was raised. Let's take another look at Williamson here. So 3 goals all competitions this year, but they know when he gets hot, this is really gonna fly for him.
Yeah, and a little bit lucky was Odell there, and that's probably why Williamson was so upset, not just from missing the opportunity, but it almost went under his arm. But it's the run off the backside shoulder. It's so hard to defend as a center back.
Brought in by Quinn. Seeking Martinez. Samake handled that quite well.
The recovery pace from Samake I really like there. You can just see like that ball looked like it was going to be putting Douglas Martinez going in towards the penalty box, but he does really well just to show some pace there and recover.
By the way, let's tell you, Select is the official match ball supplier of the USL Championship and many elite leagues throughout Europe. Visit us.select-sport.com. The latest Select products, specials, and more. Select, the player's choice.
Fans, last call for alcohol sales is at the 75th
Well,
minute.
oh, okay.
Not yet.
Boy, yeah, I thought
Not
that. Oh, that felt early. Last call is still 20 minutes away. Woo-hoo. Oh, man. First call for last call. Chica, who, to be fair, only just came to learn what last call was, the 21-year-old. Had a number of players, Garay there included, who doesn't know what that means. It just happened. Chica racing back. Farrow. Ryan, that's a lot from Lindley.
I'm shocked that's not a card. Okay, there it is. I was going to say, I'm shocked that wouldn't be a yellow card there. Just completely turned was Ryan when Lindley came from behind. Just take a look right through the center. Washington tries to break the lines here. He does it really well, passing the midfield. And you can see that, oh, that looked like it hurt right on the left leg of Ryan.
Lindley coming off a career year in Colorado Springs last season. 9 assists. That run and gun switchback team. Doing all the work while Haji Berry and Mishi Galina got a lot of the accolades.
Yeah, just having a steady presence in midfield with that group ahead of you. Definitely a great role that he was able to fill.
Huge ball forward. Williamson. That's an extended boot up. And Deespay indicating he's simply trying to play the ball here.
The long service, not something that Loudoun's really looked for most of this game. Really a 2v2 situation here, just a weird bounce. Williamson gets in there and definitely looked like it got up there right towards the head of Williamson. Was trying to play the ball, but definitely dangerous.
Well, good news, if there is any there for Deespay. He's not carded, part because I don't know that the actual studs made significant contact. That could have been really painful for Williamson.
Yeah, it didn't look quite as high there looking at that replay.
A set piece here for Loudoun. They scored in the 6th minute. The step over by Garay. Couple options percolating. They will send it across the box for Washington. Blake. Now Samake. Rocha settles Elmedkar. Farrow. Domineering header. Ooh. It's kind of hard to imagine how that was offside. Wow.
I guess that ball was in there in the air a long time.
Yeah. Indy did a really good job getting back, I suppose.
Right?
Offside the other way.
It's definitely becoming a little bit more of a direct game here. And, you know, to be honest, Indy 11 kind of has to do that. Loudoun United has come out again in the second half, and when they haven't possessed, they've counter-pressed very quickly, so there's just no real space to play through midfield. So I would go a little bit more direct if I'm them, but it has to be purposeful.
Fans, don't miss a minute of the action in 2023. Whether your club is on the road or at home, catch nearly every second of USL Championship action on ESPN+. It's the home to USL Championship, USL League One, La Liga, Bundesliga, UFC, and more. Sign up today, plus.espn.com. Ryan won a free kick, and Diaz-Pay is beside himself.
Ryan just has a knack for getting there just a second earlier. He's anticipating the way they're pressing, the way they're trying to play out. He's done really well. Williamson really gives that initial pressure, and he just steps right in front of Diaz-Pay, and it's just really industrious work from the forward.
By the way, mention USL games, of course, on ESPN Plus, as fans know. Loudoun new to the Open Cup, and to be fair, so is Bleacher Report. The game on Wednesday night at Segra against Columbus is available on the Bleacher Report app, the BR app, the BR Football YouTube page, not on ESPN Plus as you've become accustomed. Good news is every game in the Open Cup in this round of 32 will be broadcast either on CBS Golazo, BR, the US Soccer YouTube page. An hour in the books. All brought down by Garay. Blake nearly threaded for Guinzotti. Pressure still on here from Indy 11. It's a broken floor. It's Asante. Driving the cross. Attempt to settle that. Launched back out toward Ryan. Kept by Budati. Lindley. Forward from Quinn. Dambrot. Dambrot, Chica, and upfield by Santos. That's with Loudoun.
I like what Chica's doing there at the center back position. He looks really good for this only being his second appearance, his first start. Like, very confident stepping into midfield, recovering well when the attack from Indy 11 does bypass them, but he's been a really solid influence back there.
Elmedkar. Forward for Zane, pounced on by Budati. Asante lost the handle. Picked up by Garay. Into the pocket of space. Ryan! Zach Ryan! It's not a goal. Ryan cannot believe it. That was goal of the year stuff. And surely that was in. We're getting our first look at it. We'll show you in a moment. Indy 11 just dodged a cannon fodder-sized bullet. Wow.
And that's the one rare moment that Ryan has found himself faced up. He's done a lot of that hold-up play facing backwards. What a shot there. I mean, I am absolutely shocked that didn't count as a goal.
Oh, wow. You think he wants to go again?
Oh, yeah.
He'll drop off.
Oh, yeah. They might be stepping a little bit more to him now since they've dodged that bullet.
Wow. Ryan. Elmedkar. Back heel. Whipped across. Williamson wide. Well, that is a chance that you might want to think about again. We're going to look at what really, from our vantage point, looked like it should have been a goal. This from Zach Ryan a moment ago.
And just finding this space right in front of the back line, a good prep touch or two, and just unleashes a strike here. Hits the bottom of the crossbar. Yeah, I mean, look, it's behind the post. It's
right
behind the post.
Yeah, clearly,
wow,
clearly a goal.
And you can see that there wasn't good position there on the opposite side from the referee. I think he was kind of surprised, to be honest, that he unleashed that from so far away and at that distance, but they really escaped one there, Indy 11.
Back heel to Ryan, who will not get, at least for the moment, his 6th goal in 6 games in the league. since being acquired by Loudoun. Williamson trying to get in. Jerome bowled over. All right, if you're Indy, a new lease on life. If you're Loudoun, you should be up 2-0. You could be up 2-0. You're not, right?
Yeah, it's frustrating from Loudoun, and I think what's really important these next few minutes is that they don't do any unnecessary fouls out of frustration that would allow Indy 11 to get back in. That's what Indy 11 would want, more set pieces and things like that for an opportunity to equalize.
Ball finds Asante, settles, serves, header back, Budati. Blake brought it down. Asante, Blake. Asante trying to wiggle free. Budati. Blake. Across the top of the 18. Elmedkar. That's one too many from Dispay. Whether this was going to be a card-worthy offense to begin with or not, that's the third time in this half that he's drawn a whistle.
And a lot of that has just come from the work rate of Loudoun. When there have been bouncing balls, when there has been a service going backwards, they're pressing and just really trying to put Indy 11 as much under pressure as possible. And I think that's something that's been really good. Yes, they've scored the goal. We'll take a look at this last challenge. Elmedkar challenges, Dispay has to recover and just pulls him down. But I think that's what's been good about Loudoun United. They've done really well that there's not a lot of gaps, there's not a lot of spaces for Indy 11 to play through. And then you talk about their industriousness and their work rate. It's been really hard to possess in that midfield.
This has been a really fun week of games around the championship. The Rowdies up 2-0 at halftime. Williams and Charlie Dennis in first half stoppage time. See the yellow to Dispay. Oakland has gone ahead against a man-down Birmingham side. Whittling around Washington, the offside flag up regardless. Kavita, a red card, and Dark Formella for the Roots. In first half stoppage time, strikes a penalty to put Oakland ahead, so Birmingham may well drop points tonight as well. Detroit and Tulsa both tussling beneath the playoff line. Dario Suarez, Super Dario, a penalty to respond after Abdoulaye Diop scored in the 10th for Detroit. Meanwhile here, we're sitting on somehow 1-0.
It's surprising. There's been a lot of opportunities for Loudoun, so it's a little bit scary if you're Loudoun because Indy 11 is not out of this. Even though more of the opportunities have come for the white uniforms, that is not necessarily indicated on the score sheet.
Williamson against Dispay. Through for Zane. A slide by Odell. Well, he took care of that in the way he best knew how. Forward from Farrow. That's Zane backing into Budati. Lest we forget, Loudoun made 5 changes coming in. That's the most they've made game to game all season. In the chat we had with Ryan Martin, he was knocking on some wood that everyone would be available for this game, and outside of Giannis Learman, it is the bench you would expect given the changes.
And isn't that what makes it even more impressive, the way they're playing, with it not only being a new group, but 5 changes in this game from the normal starting 11? That's really impressive, just the way they've played and the style in which they've shown tonight.
Edge of the area, Santos offside. That is the 8th time AR's lifted the flag tonight. Well, here's a change. Tommy Williamson doesn't leave with a goal, but he did do a lot of work tonight. Wesley Leggett comes in, and it's going to be interesting to see how this progresses between the two. The sub brought to you by Segra.
And Williamson has done really well. He's been a really good partner in the way he's played with Ryan up top. I think he'd probably be disappointed just not being able to get a goal on this evening, but he's creating chances. He's being a handful for the back line, and it's a good outing for him.
Loudoun United substitution in the 69th minute. Exiting the match, number 9, Tommy Williamson. Entering the match, number 14, Wesley Leggett. All substitutions are brought to you by Segra.
Guinzotti, that's an epic touch. Battling with Elmedkar. That is a foul on Elmedkar. Reaching into the side pocket, that's a yellow.
And you wonder if it's for the foul there or the reaction afterwards, right? With Elmedkar trailing. Guinzotti just does a really good job, gets that initial touch, really nice. Elmedkar has to cover back for Rocha. And just getting a little bit of that leg in front, he has position and draws the foul.
We are inching closer and closer to someone getting launched out of this game. It's 4 Indy players on yellows and 3 Loudoun players. Zane, Garay, Elmedkar, Dambrot, Vasquez, Deespe, and Lindley. 20 minutes to play. Let's see what Blake has in mind. Ball floated up, Dambrot! It loops over the bar. Change here. This will be Harrison Robledo coming in off the bench. And that's it for Lindley. So an attack-minded change here in midfield to get Robledo into the game.
Indy 11 substitution in the 71st minute.
Sub brought to you by Segra.
Exiting the match, number 6, Cam Lindley.
So that's 2 of the players on yellows out now for Indy, Vasquez and Lindley. And Robledo, second change for Indy, first moment used.
And that gets Quinn a bit higher up the field. Like you said, a more attacking substitution, the personnel change there. And Asante's been playing off this right side for the last 5 or 6 minutes with Martinez going inside. So you have to think they want to try to spring him in the wide space, try to get some crosses off of his foot, but it's just a lot of suffocating pressure from Loudoun.
And goes Samake, kept by Zane, and the whistle to bring it back. Jerome. He and Quinn were not on the same page. Odell. Rocha. Guinzotti. Down from Leggett. Finds Dambrot.
You could hear in that last sequence Ryan Martin saying, go, go, go. I mean, they are still pressing so high and trying to really close the gaps. It's something he's really wanted to work on, is how they do that, but not give too many options for the opposition to go forward.
Asante through. Washington. That's not going to make it over the line. That's calm from Budati. Quinn. Martinez. Back heel Asante. Pirouettes. Quinn stepping forward. Santos closed it down. It's Dambrot. Now Quinn. Deespe. Martinez. Overlapping run. Now he plays it. Budati crossing. It's in. Guinzotti, the equalizer for Indy 11. And it's all to play for with 17 minutes to go.
And that's exactly what we were talking about. Loudoun has had so many opportunities going forward. Zach Ryan with that goal that looked like it went over the line, didn't count. Now this, right here, Martinez really good, and this is a great proactive run from Budati. Just does really well. The timing's perfect on the pass from Martinez. And that cross to Guinzotti and the finish on the near side. That's just a front runner working on his timing, getting into a spot that's dangerous, and making sure that he takes advantage of the center back, Chica, who just fell asleep in that moment.
The 11th leading goal scorer in the history of the league, his 61st goal, and his second for Indy 11. Not sure what happened after the fact here. Rocha seems displeased.
Head over to the corner of the stadium next to section 107 after the match.
All right, game on.
And that right side for Indy 11, really good. And Asante wasn't involved in that, but just that pattern of play. We haven't really seen that a whole lot where the outside backs have been able to get forward, but Budati makes the most of that one opportunity with that cross.
Zane did well to find Rocha, who teased that up too high for Ryan, who applauds the idea. Five winless for Indy 11. And yet still hanging right around that playoff line with a win tonight. That's it for Zane. He gets off as quickly as he can. Panos Armanakis enters here.
You made mention of him getting off quickly. I think Loudoun United is going to be unhappy right now. They've done so well in this game, and so they're trying to push for this. I don't know if it's going to stay at 1-1 at this point. It's becoming more and more direct, and there's going to be gaps that open up as each team really tries to push forward.
Not really a betting man, but there's a goal in this.
It certainly feels like it.
I don't know who's going to score it.
I don't know.
Leggett coming friendly with Odell. Down goes Garay. That's Blake snapping his head back in frustration. Over to Asante. He has those moments where you see exactly sort of the tricks and flicks you saw in Phoenix. And it's worth noting that was 5 years ago.
Right.
And a lot's happened in that time.
There's a lot of flair in his game. I think it's just been really hard to get him on the ball. But every time he's been on the ball, he's been really clean and been able to create something out of it, or at least just keep possession for Indy.
54 goals and 45 assists in a 4-year span. Most of that came in his 2 MVP campaigns. Phoenix team that would house opposition 3-4, 5-0 some nights.
And that's just insane production. Those numbers are are just crazy.
We may never see anything like it again. That is offside for Guinzotti. Daniel Chesky is trying to stomp out some conversation here. Jerome. Whoa! Jerome after it. Ball given up to Armenakis. Something between Jerome and Odell was off. Spared their blushes, to say the least. Back into El Medkar. El Medkar driving into the penalty area. Blake, 2 bowling pins go down. Douglas Martinez. That's aggressive stuff from Washington. Waves Martinez back up. We are hitting a definite inflection point right now.
Yes, you can just see it from both ends. Both teams pushing, and luckily for Washington, it was a well-timed tackle because that could have been harsh, but it did look like he got the ball there. But both these teams are getting very aggressive and going forward.
Samake delivers into El Medkar, drives the cross off of Deespe. Corner Loudoun United, a look back at the play on this end a moment ago.
And Loudoun was really unhappy here because look, he touches it back. You should not be able to use your hand there. And you could see Loudoun screaming when that happened, you know, and credit Armenakis for trying to continue to play. But when that confusion happened, that should be an indirect set piece in the box right there.
Absolutely. Armenakis. And Casey, what's more, that ball is being hit. If not for Odell's hand, that's
going in.
Going in.
Most likely, unless there's not enough pace on it, you've got a retreating defender, right? But either way, that is not a good situation for Indy 11, and they get away with something else. You know, if you're Loudoun right now, you're unhappy with the Ryan chance and now that one.
Yeah, indirect free kick, sure, but are you talking about a denial of obvious goal-scoring opportunity, too? Boy, this has been a weird game. You could very well argue Loudoun should be up 2-1. Ball bouncing. Blake. Blake resets, sends across again. Aiden Quinn! Deflection, corner. Can Indy break through here in the final 10 minutes? Quinn puts it up. Robledo. Jerome. Samake allows it out. And for what it's worth, we've shown a number of shots of one referee. It's a team game for them too. At the end of the day, this is not one singular person. The goal call would never have been the center referee. Nevertheless, Juan Tejada replaces another former Rowdy. Guenzati, he got the goal in the 74th. Sub brought to you by Segra.
Number 17, Juan Tejada.
Tejada is yet to score this year. Last season, 28 games, 2 goals. Split between the Rowdies and Indy 11. Free kick, Loudoun United. But it does feel like this game has gotten a little out of grasp. Ball in, Armenakis over to Leggett. Put his leg in it.
So much more time there for Leggett than he actually took on that shot, but you're right. I mean, there's just a lot of frustration in this game, and it's coming out, and I think there should be frustration, to be quite honest with you, with some of the opportunities that have been taken away from Loudoun and how they've played. But we talked about it in the first half. There were opportunities to go up 2-0. Yep. There were opportunities to maybe be up 3-0. And when a team lingers in the game, they usually find at least one clear opportunity, and that's what Guenzati did.
Chica working off his right. Forward from Santos, kept away from Armenakis. Indy has talked about controlling most every game they played. They felt like the Monterey Bay game was really the lone game where they played truly subpar. On the whole, they felt like they've had winnable performances time and time again. Meanwhile, this Loudoun team could be in 4th place at the end of the night if they can find one more. And they've got that enormous Open Cup fixture in the round of 32 on Wednesday night against Columbus Crew. This was the little engine that couldn't for the last 5 years, and this reinvigorated Loudoun team on level terms at the moment.
Well, and that says a lot, too, that they are frustrated right now because the style of play and the way they're demonstrating what they can do and being tied 1-1, they're definitely going to be frustrated by that. But you got to give some credit to Indy 11, who have just kind of stuck in there and just kept going and figured out a way to create a good opportunity to equalize.
Forward from El Medkar, never got to leg it. By the way, most of these teams are coming off Open Cup weeks. Exhaustion. Rocha, why not? Asante for Jerome. For Tejada. Quinn. He's onside looking for Asante all the way through Martinez. A delicate touch. Now it's Blake. Blake high.
That's some scary moments there for Loudoun. This is a great ball by Tejada in behind the back line. Quinn looks quickly over his shoulder. That little touch from Samake, dangerous, but it was effective there because it threw off Martinez as he was coming into that backside.
That attack in the final third consisted of 4 different players who have all at some point been named All-League.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Talk about that, coming at you as a backline and as a goalkeeper.
You know, I remember talking with Jamison Olave about the leader that Jack Blake was for that Real Monarchs team that won the title, and part of that conversation was he knew what the team needed when they needed it. Water bottles everywhere. Blake's just trying to keep his head attached to his shoulders.
Wasn't that a nice thing to have, though, as a coach, to have a leader in your team that also can kind of figure out when to do what? That's what you're trying to do as a manager, right? Is, wait, when do they need rest? When do they need this? What type of thing should I be providing? When you have someone that's an extension of you and can manage that, that's really helpful.
Well, that's concerning. Chica is hobbling. Learman, the starting center back, typically not in the 18. Chica hadn't played all year. He got 1 game and technically 0 minutes. He came in stoppage time. Got his first start tonight. I don't want to start guessing what's wrong here, but they don't really have an option at center back. Josu Landry is going to come on. That's it for Chica.
Loudoun United substitution in the 88th minute. Exiting the match, number 20, Daniel Chica. Entering the match, number 19, Josu Landry. All substitutions are brought to you by Segra.
Obviously, Washington stays in position. It looks like is that Santos is tucked inside. Ball given away off of Ryan. Quinn, this is now a wounded Loudoun side. Asante chips in, Washington up to the task. That's Quinn, booked.
And so many of the yellows have come in that middle third, just slowing down play. It's been very, very obvious yellow cards from most of these midfielders. You can just see right here, Medkar helping it on. Leggett able to get going forward, and it looks like he'll be running at the back line if Quinn doesn't do that.
And that is 8 yellow cards. Down a center back now if you're Loudoun. Does that push you to go for it all and not allow it in your own half? Does that mean you trust Santos to be able to sit in there? This is a manager's Pandora's box.
I think you try and keep as much possession as possible, and Santos is really good in possession, so I think you continue to do that, but it has to be this risk versus reward. When do you choose to do what?
That's Landry and Quinn both trying to sneak under it. Quinn pops it up. Header forward. Tejada! Tejada! Indy may get the full 3 on the road. Juan Tejada puts Indy 11 ahead in the 90th minute now.
Wow, are you kidding me? Look at this, it's just a hopeful ball that goes in. Look at the flick on from Martinez. Santos, we were just talking about, doesn't come across. When you see someone jumping there, you've got to come across and cover, but that was the change. What a finish from Tejada. This is a great, just opportunistic play. That's exactly what you want your 2 front runners to do. One's coming short, one's going in behind, and Tejada with a great finish.
That is his 2nd goal in 22 games with Indy 11 in the league. Into stoppage time, presented by Novak. Power you can count on. 6 added minutes. Indy 11, this is going to feel like an eternity. Loudoun, it's going to go by faster than you could say filibuster.
Well, we said this in the 73rd minute when Guinzotti scored. This is going to change things. We felt like there was another goal in it. 6 minutes is a lot of time. Loudoun, though, looking like they're struggling a little bit with energy up top. Zach Ryan not able to get on the ball as much, but can they really try to make Indy 11 just go towards their own goal and maybe make a mistake?
Medkar picked it up. Flicks back Armenakis. Able to get it wide. Referee thought about advantage. Advantage continues. Not going to count. Not going to count. It's going the other way, and Armenakis is beside himself.
Well, there was an initial foul, it looked like, against Armenakis, or that Armenakis drew, actually, but then they played it wide, then the offside was called. So there's really no advantage there. Were you going to call the foul, and should it come back to the top of the box?
Well, there have been some really baffling moments tonight.
You can see it right here. Medkar's in here. Look at this run by Armenakis. Right there, the foul from behind. You play on, rightfully so, but then if it's an offside call, you bring it back because there's no advantage.
Wow. Penny for Ryan Martin's thoughts tonight. Blake is back up. And look, if you're Indy, by any means necessary, Chesky, I think, just gave a yellow card to Ryan Martin for those aforementioned thoughts.
I'm not surprised, though, that he's voicing his frustration right now.
May well have been an assistant coach. Yeah, to a Loudoun United bench. Wow. Ryan Martin's up and strolling. Blake. Asante for Blake. Landry. Loudoun on the break here. Armenakis. Dambrot. Ball launched ahead. Elmedkar kept it alive. And as he lost his footing, Asante circles to the ball. Tejada buzzing. Blake down by Leggett. Asante. Here's the change for Indy 11. They'll bring Reese in off the bench. His 4th appearance, 3rd substitute appearance, and Asante comes off. This is worth seconds as much as it is a fresh set of legs.
Yeah, and Indy 11's going to need that. And to be honest, Loudoun looks a little bit tired up front, too. They're putting in a lot of work. It's really industrious, but they're having to chase the game a little bit here.
Sub by Segra, that's it. Both teams have used all their moments. Armanakis. Chipped into Samake. Brought it down. That hangs up there. Odell just banged off the post. The goal is off its bearing, so it's off the line.
You've got to wonder how much time's going to be added onto the 6 with that commotion when Armanakis was wanting the foul at the top of the penalty area. Now this. I wonder how much will actually be playing here. This is the last attack. Armanakis finding the space wide. Samake committing forward. It's not the greatest ball, but it's just a bit awkward here for Odell, having to backtrack. Jumps up and does bang his head on that far post. It goes out for a goal kick.
We may well have 97th, maybe even a 98th minute the way this is going. My, oh my. They're currently working Jerome's actually helping to get the goal back in position here. The Indy 11 center back.
And this is really interesting because there's these moments where it's been going really back and forth. Here is where you figure out, okay, who loses a little bit of concentration? Loudoun can continue to push. Can Indy 11 really just stay focused and make sure nothing really easy causes them problems? Because these stoppages in play are never easy to come back from.
So, maybe now's not the time for levity. You know, coming out of COVID, they played about 10 games on national TV in a 2-week span from USL, first league back in home venues. And they didn't actually check to make sure that the base of the net had connected to the back post. And as a result, Orange County scored a goal where the ball shot through the back of the net and out of the stadium. And of course, have you ever seen that happen? I just assumed that he somehow missed it. Not so fast. Anywho, if they had just done this and taken out an entire roll of duct tape, we never would have had that problem. I would have been saved monumental embarrassment.
Would have been problem solved, but can you imagine if they didn't do that tonight in this kind of game? If it would have happened, that would be mania.
All right, let's get it on. We will have a 99th minute, and at this rate, we might have a 100th as well. That was about a 2.5 minute stoppage, all told. So really, it's up to Daniel Chesky now. Samake is going to chase this down. Square across the face of Tejada. Upfield from Farreau. This has just been an obscurely weird kind of game. Martinez trying to hold it up. Robledo got there first. Tap back Tejada. Robledo, can they get this toward the corner? That was the first look at the referee's watch. There's about 50 seconds left. And then the 2.5-minute delay, maybe longer than that. Throw for Robledo. This is a win by hook or by crook. Indy does not care, I promise you. Thrown into Tejada. That's full time, and Indy 11 from behind grab all 3 points and move to the cusp of playoff position. This game had everything, but somehow only 3 goals.
Well, and like you said, Indy 11 will take it. They need the 3 points desperately, and that can just raise the motivation and just spurring them on going into their next games coming up. It's really sad for Loudoun in the way they played early on, but Indy gets 3 points.
All right. A lot to digest here. How about we take a look back at the save of the game? It's presented by Segra. Back in the early stages of the first half.
Farreau does so well on this one. Blake in behind. This one would have been an equalizer in the 8th minute, coming right after Loudoun United did score in the 6th minute early on from El Medcar, but Farreau does so well just to make sure he keeps that away from frame.
Well, the two teams showing a good nature after this one's concluded. Indy 11, a 2-1 win over Loudoun United away. Their second win of the season. They scrapped, they needed it desperately. And they do, in fact, get it done. We'll wrap it up on the other side of the break. Our Pulse Game score is presented by Segra. Our Pulse Game report is coming up after these messages. Mark Lowry and Solomon Asante and Mishak Jerome and this Indy 11 team that had suffered over the past year and a half, and especially in the early stages of this year. Jerome coming in at center back, settling the situation. Asante showing so well in this second half. Guinzotti and Tejada both grabbing goals. Let's take a look at the full-time highlights. We start in the 6th minute. El Medcar.
El Medcar does so well. He starts off the initial play, makes this run into the penalty area. A great service from Santos, and he tucks it right into that far corner. The 63rd minute, just continuing to attack. This was an awkward situation. Ryan hits this one from distance. It appears to go in. It goes behind the line, behind the post, but doesn't count.
So that kept it 1-0, and then the race was on to find the next goal. How about Indy 11 through Guinzotti?
This is a goal scorer's run right here. Budati does well, but look at Guinzotti, just gets right into that near post space. That timing is impeccable for the goal. And then in the 90th minute, just a bit hopeful here, but this is exactly what you asked your front runners to do. Run off that ball that he challenged for Martinez, and Tejada just puts it away for the lead.
Two former Rowdies. Critical goals for Indy 11. And for all the nights where they felt like it was against them, tonight they get the breaks. And for Loudoun, them's the breaks. Here's a look at the full-time match stats. Chance for your final thoughts, Casey.
Well, instead of the possession going Indy 11's way like it usually does, only 47% there, but they were critical in the final third. Those details were what was important, and it was the difference.
All right. Khalil El-Medkar in the 6th minute, his second goal of the year, a phenomenal finish, only to be outdone after Ryan's goal, incorrectly it appeared disallowed. Midway through the second half, Guinzotti and Tejada, goals for Indy 11 to grab all 3 points on the road. Loudoun return home Wednesday in the Open Cup against Columbus. Hope you'll join us on Bleacher Report then. For Casey White, our entire team, Mike Watts saying so long from Leesburg.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.